Joining us via Skype now from Bayelsa State, it's the Secretary, Joe Youth Council Worldwide, Alfred Kemepado. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this time. Well, I'm very sure you are abreast with the issue. Let me start by asking, is this a case of Misau getting back at the Inspector General of Police?
Basically, you can say it's a case of Misau getting back at the Inspector General of Police, or the Inspector General of Police getting back at Misau. Recently, you may recall the case of Baru versus Ibe Kachuku. In the beginning of this administration, you may realize the issues between the DSS and the EFCC, and the grass cutting issues and other things. I don't want us to dwell on who is getting on who at this particular point in time, or who is getting on who in the near future. But what is most important in this whole equation is that running states is a serious business. It just shows that the president needs to put his team together. Nigeria is in dire need of many things, including development on all fronts. It's not a good thing that the team of the president, the key members of the president's engine room, at every point in time at loggerheads. So what is most important at this particular point in time is for the president to see how he can put his heart and his house together so that the nation can concentrate on development rather than one individual against other and other petty or related matters.
Yeah. Do you think, by your own estimation, that it is in the place of the federal government to actually sue Senator Issa Misau for this very serious allegations? Yes, they are. But one would have imagined that the IG of police, whose public image has been maligned, sort of, would be the one taking Misau to court, and not the federal government.
I would also think so, but I'm not a lawyer yet, so I don't know who has the capacity to sue. But you see, let me remind you of something. You remember the issue of this French president that was contesting for an election that one Nafisat Diallo accused. You know, and just based on the accusation, he resigned contesting for the president of France. Recently, you may have also recalled what happened in the US, where a secretary was accused of flying a private jet, and whatnot in developed countries. You see, we must build this country to the extent where public office holders are as clean as possible without any form of speculative dent. At this particular point in time, what the federal government and officers of the federal government, especially at that peak, should be concerned about is how clean and how they can concentrate on their records to see how they can bring about concentrated prosperity to the country. All of these allegations are not a good pointer to the country. Like I said earlier, whether you like it or whether you believe it or whether you take it, it's a shame. It's a big shame, you understand? So I just want us to concentrate on what is important, that officers at that level are supposed to come out clean, are supposed to be standards, not just standards for this nation, but standards for the global world. Yes. So we should concentrate more on the presidency, I call again, should concentrate more on coming out a bit better, because after all, the unique selling point of the president while he was contesting for election is his stand against anti-corruption and not any other thing. So at this particular point in time, the president should be worried about that and put his house together.
All right, Alfred, very rightly so. The more important issues must be concentrated upon, but you can't take away the fact that the surrounding issues also must be talked about. Now, beyond all reasonings at the moment, do you not think it would have been a rational thing for government to do to investigate, first of all, the allegations laid against the IG before proceeding to go to court?
I totally agree that total investigation should be carried out. I can also suggest to you that, like we want to be in any of the developed climes, the IG should have even resigned, as a matter of fact. Yes, there may be people who may argue from here and there, and that it doesn't mean that once an allegation is poured on you, you resign. Yes, rightly so, because the IG, with his portfolio and his capacity, has capacity to shield information or to kind of alter information. So I think he should resign, and I think the federal government and other related bodies, both national and international, should carry out a full investigation on this matter and other issues.
Well, it doesn't look like the IG of Police Ibrahim Idris is about to resign anytime soon. Now, what do you make of the Police Service Commission, you know, that people have been thinking would actually step in to look at these allegations, saying that it does not have the powers to discipline the IG of police, is not constitutionally empowered in the case of any infractions or indiscipline on the part of the IG?
If it's not constitutionally, well, I don't have the details about that. If the Police Service Commission is not constitutionally empowered to do so, I don't know who else is empowered to do so. But I would think that the provisions of the law, I'm not just sure about that particular case. Let me rest my case on that.
Well, do you have any confidence? Of course, the National Assembly has said it will go ahead with investigations on these allegations. How confident are you that the National Assembly will do a good job of this?
Well, the National Assembly can do a good job about it, but the question you ask yourself is how far and how well will any investigative report from a National Assembly go? The National Assembly just rejected the nomination of the EFCC chairman. I have nothing against the EFCC chairman, but that didn't hold sway, it didn't go anywhere. So you can see the several impotencies of our institutional framework. So it's not about the National Assembly investigating him, but you need to begin to question the potency of our investigation and our subsequent report. It may not go anywhere because records in recent times, like the EFCC case is a classical case, has just shown that it may not be potent. Records also show that, well, I'm not saying this to be particular with my people. Records have it in recent times that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in acting capacity though, in the person of Yemi Osibanjo, came and made pronouncements about all multinationals moving down to the Niger Delta, and the multinationals seem not to be listening. So there's a whole lot of impotency of our institutions, impotency of presidential pronouncements, and probably the impotency of even the National Assembly. So we should be worried about all of these things. So answering your question straight is, it's not about the investigation, but it's the potency of the consequence of that investigation that matters. But for me as a person, I don't see it potent.
All right,
President.
All right, Alfred. What sort of precedents do you think that this is laying? Of course, many people are concerned that this is, taxpayers' money that the government is using to pursue, a case against its own citizen.
Well, the government, as long as the government uses taxpayers' money judicially for the interest of the country, there's nothing wrong about that. If the government is using taxpayers' money to prosecute a particular system, to bring about deterrent and correction on the system, there's nothing wrong about that. So I think that will be criticism too far. Where we wrong these things is when taxpayers' money is used frivolously. And by that I mean, if taxpayers' money is deployed to investigate this kind of issues, and at the end of the day, by the body language of Mr. President, nothing is attended to, and nothing holds sway, and nothing is taken serious, then we have a problem with that. So we should be more worried about the body language of the president and the presidency. You see, I say this not to criticize the president, but I say this with all amount of patriotism to this country. Like I had said every time, when politics come, we can all retire to our various political parties. But at this particular point in time, we should all be concentrating on building nation. And part of building nation is to try and ensure to support the president to be more potent in the discharge of his duties. It seems to be like if the president doesn't say yes, nothing works, irrespective of the institutional agenda or institutional say. So I think we are more worried about that. The president should ensure that our institutions and the various facets of the government work accordingly.
Yes, indeed. Now, with allegations of collecting $10 billion, naira actually, every month from companies and individuals amounting to about 120 in a year, and so many other allegations, should Misau be treated as a whistleblower? Is this whistleblowing or what exactly is this?
Misau can be treated as a whistleblower on one hand, but don't forget that Misau is an interested party in this matter. So for now, no matter how sincere Misau or anybody will argue that Misau is, I will not see Misau as coming clean. Just like I will not also see the Inspector General of Police coming clean on this issue. But there should be an independent investigative body outside Misau and outside the IG to come out with a report that we can take seriously.
All right, now the federal government has been seen as, protecting its own. You remember very clearly the issue of Babachara Lawal, an investigation done by the vice president and report, put down, before the president, and people are worried that no action has been taken, up till this moment. And now the federal government is seen as protecting its own. What do you think that this will do to the relationship between the presidency and the legislature?
It's not just about the presidency and the legislature. It's also between the presidency and the most powerful arm of government, which is the people. It kind of sends a signal that the presidency is not sincere with its anti-corruption drive. It kind of gives a signal that the presidency is actually using the anti-corruption drive to witch hunt a particular people for political and other related reasons. It could also be sectional. Because, like I earlier pointed out here, there's a saying in the air now that if you are corrupt, one way you can shield yourself is to join the ruling party. And we see a whole lot of people who have had states of them jumping into the ruling party. So it doesn't really tell well. Like I said earlier in this interview, that the unique selling point of the president is his stand against anti-corruption. And that doesn't seem sincere in recent times. Because once you are in the ruling party, you are shielded, like you rightly said, that the presidency is protecting its own. And you come to ask questions like, what is the presidency's own? The presidency's own should be the prosperity of this nation. The presidency's own should be equity. The presidency's own should be fairness. The presidency's own should be justice. The presidency's own should be doing the right thing no matter whose ox is gone. So it doesn't really show well about the president. And I think that's not really good for this country, because if there is anything we need to do in this country, is to stand against corruption. Because the corruption that the country faces, as said over time in different climes, that it destroys the country. So the presidency should be more concerned about our integrity. But for now, I can clearly tell you that the presidency is not doing perfect about that, but they can do better.
They can do better. We'll have to leave it there. SecGen, Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide, Alfred Kemepado. Thank you so much for joining us on TVC Breakfast this morning.
Thanks.